Hey guys, it's Taylor. Today I'm going to be giving you all a tour of my outdoor garden, my raised beds with my vegetables, my herbs. I got some flowers kind of spread out. So I hope you guys enjoy this quick little tour. I'm going to try to make it quick because it is warm out here. It's like 85 and I of course chose the worst time of the day to film this. Just to give you all a quick idea of where I am and kind of what time of year it is. I am filming this in mid-May currently. And I live in the Texas Hill Country, kind of in between San Antonio and Austin. We're gardening zone 8. So you can kind of see most of my garden beds here in this shot. This is the main area of my garden. I will kind of go through each bed and show you what's growing right now. I'm very proud of my garden setup. This is my second year growing here. And all the beds that you see, me and my dad actually built. Pretty much all the material is actually reclaimed, repurposed material from my brother's fence that he ended up redoing his fence, and he had all this extra material. My dad was like, well, we could build garden beds out of it. So that's what we did. And really the only material we had to buy was the material for the top part of the trellis. And that was pretty much it. And then obviously like the soil, and pretty much everything I have growing, I started from seed, almost all of it. There's only a couple things that I actually bought starts of. So let's jump in and I'll show you what's kind of in each bed here. So this first bed here is more square, and we kind of made it with tomatoes in mind, just giving it a pretty nice sturdy structure to climb up here. And that's what I have growing in here right now. So I have tomatoes. I believe these are patio tomatoes. I started so many tomatoes this year and I don't even remember which ones are what. I can tell some of them now that they're getting a little more mature what they are, but I believe this is called like a patio tomato. So it's a pretty good sized tomato. They are starting to ripen, which is super exciting, and they're just loaded. And I picked actually a couple of these yesterday. And then in the front of this bed I have these Alaska nasturtium, and I just love them. They're beautiful, the variegated leaves, and now they're flowering for me really nicely. And then also kind of hid back in here is some basil. I did a lot of basil and a lot of tomatoes in the garden this year because I love them. Then this second pot was a pot I actually found back behind my house, and that's a really pretty nice pot. It's like a plastic pot that was, I think, meant for like trees, like you buy a tree in a nursery. So this is a cherry tomato. It is growing pretty crazy. I definitely need to figure out a better trellis situation for it because it's just kind of climbing all up every which way. But look at those beautiful cherry tomatoes. And then down below I have more basil. This one's like a purple basil. I forget exactly what it's called. And then this is marjoram. Okay, moving on to my bigger, more rectangular beds. The first one here, a ton more tomatoes, just a wall of tomatoes. And I'm gonna need to prune this more. I've been trying to get out here and prune and keep it tidy, but tomatoes grow like freaking weeds, so it's been hard to do that. But I got 2 more cherry tomatoes on the back of this one here. I've got this other version of basil. This one's actually a holy basil, and it grows like crazy here. It does so much better than the other like traditional, I think it's called like Genovese basil. This does really well. And then I've got oregano here. Yeah, this one is an Italian oregano. And then on the back I think this one is like a Greek oregano, I'm pretty sure, but it's like a chunkier, thicker leaf, and yeah, it's pretty cool. We've got mini peppers right here, and then more nasturtium, just the regular green. It's got the red flowers, another mini pepper, and another mini pepper, and eggplant. This is an eggplant back here, and it's starting to flower, so we should get some soon. And my eggplants did amazing last year, so hopefully I'll have good luck with getting lots of those. And then we've got garlic, which is just about probably ready to pick. Some of the leaves start to kind of die off, and that's when you know they're ready. So yeah, I picked one kind of recently, and it was actually a pretty good sized bulb. So that's what's going on in this bed. And as you can tell, not everything in my garden is beautiful, and that's just the reality of gardening. A lot of my stuff is getting eaten by bugs, and it's not the prettiest, but that's just reality. We've got another cherry tomato in this grow bag and more basil. And I just saw something exciting. Hopefully you can see it. This little dude here, pretty sure that is a ladybug larva. And they eat all kinds of pests, so they're really good to have in the garden. But hopefully you can get a little shot of him. He's kind of creepy looking, and you would never guess that that's a ladybug. Okay. Next bed here, more nasturtium. I kind of just threw nasturtium everywhere because they're gorgeous and they bring in pollinators. This was my first year experimenting with planting flowers actually in my garden beds to help bring pollinators in. We got a larger variety of tomato here. I think those are beefsteaks. Another mini pepper, more basil, another eggplant. On the sides here, we've got marigolds. These are the French ones. I don't know why, but this one didn't do well, but this one is doing pretty good. And they're both the same variety. And then we've got a kale. I think this is something with an L. Lacino, something kale. And then parsley. A couple different kinds. Flat leaf and curly parsley. And then another tomato. I'm not sure about that one. I think it's a Roma because it looks a little more slender like a Roma. Look at all those beautiful tomatoes. I'm gonna have so many tomatoes. I'm gonna have to make sauces and salsas, and I'm excited about it. Okay, we got this huge overgrown mint, which actually it's much more tame now. It was like a freaking bush, and I just cut a ton of it back to make tea and dry the leaves. But this mint is just going wild, and I love it. And then another garden bag, more basil, more tomatoes, beefsteak tomato, I believe. Okay, in this bed, we've got chamomile around the border. So these are chamomile plants that will flower, and I can use them for tea, and they're also good for bringing in the pollinators. And then again, another marigold. I think this one is an African marigold. So I have a bunch of different varieties. Right next to that, we've got a kale. I think that one's a Russian purple kale or something. And then this is another kale. I need to harvest some of those big leaves. And this little guy and this little guy are butternut squash. And then another kale back there. And then I did try to plant cucumbers on this backside. I've tried it twice now, and I have not had good luck. I think something's just been eating them to the ground. So I might have to get some starts. And then we've got some sage. It's like a variegated sage. It's really pretty. And then over here, a couple more garden bags. This is another Roma, I'm pretty sure. And then around the edge are beans. So there's some beans coming in. On the sides, there's another bean and an eggplant back in there. And then this is a little habanero pepper. I have a little space here that I might do maybe a couple more beans or something. Then we've got a big old bag of beans, a little okra in the middle, got okra over here, another okra back there, and another eggplant. Yeah, so this is the other side of the garden, a shot from kind of the other side. Yeah, so that's the main area of my garden. And then if we look over here, I have this beautiful potting bench. My husband and my father-in-law built this when my father-in-law and mother-in-law were visiting. and I love it, and it's super handy. Got all my tools, got a nice workspace there. So that's my potting bench on this side. You can see my tripod over there. So on this side, I've got 2 more garden beds that we built recently with some leftover material we had from some stairs that used to be on our porch that we took apart. But this one, I've got another marigold. This one's the Mexican marigold. And then melons. These are watermelon. And I'm not sure how this is gonna go because it's not a very big bed for watermelon, but I'm guessing they're gonna trail out of the bed. I don't know, we'll see. And then we've got some thyme. We've got rosemary back there. I think these are all watermelons. I planted multiple with hopes that I get at least one good one. So this one looks pretty good in the middle. And then a sad little nasturtium. Doesn't really like it here. And then in this bed, I've got green onions and chives and sage, which all look great. I did have some other melons, like a cantaloupe or something, but it's not happy. It's just a little stump now, so I'm gonna have to try again. And then I had mints, but it doesn't like, I think, the full sun here, so I might have to put some other stuff in here. So yeah, those are my other garden beds. And there's the rest of the garden. Okay, so that was a quick overview of my outdoor garden, my raised beds, what I'm growing. I hope you guys found that interesting and maybe got some inspiration to experiment with gardening yourself, build yourself a garden bed, maybe some ideas of different things to grow. I, by no means, am an expert. This is literally my 2nd year gardening in this space, gardening on my own. I've helped my mom a little bit in the past and done like patio gardening, but nothing to this extent. So I'm learning, and I hope you guys will learn along with me, and I can learn from you guys. If you guys have any tips or advice, or if you have any questions, I'll try to answer them. Put that down in the comments. I want to engage with you guys and grow alongside you. So I hope you guys have a beautiful day, and I will see you in the next one.